Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to review the Lenovo G50-80 series notebook, which is the Lenovo's most popular selling budget segment model in various configurations. G50-80 is targeted for normal users who need laptop just for doing everyday computing for the least amount of money they can spend. Let's see whether this laptop meets requirements of such audience. So this is the exact model number which I received. This model is a no-frills laptop with just basic performing components inside. I will largely discuss about the body quality, performance, battery life, display panel, and also other aspects of this laptop. It runs on Intel i3-5005U 5th generation Broadwell based CPU operating at a maximum frequency of 2 GHz. It is a dual-core processor that supports hyper-threading, resulting in additional 2 logical cores. Intel HD 5500 graphics, which is integrated in the processor. 4 GB DDR3 RAM, clocked at 1600 MHz. And there is just one memory slot present in this model, so we can upgrade the RAM up to 8 GB. Storage is handled by 1 TB 5400 RPM hard drive, which has 16 MB cache memory in my model. 15.6 inches glossy LED display with a resolution of 1366 by 768. TN panel is used for the screen. A 4-cell 2200 mAh battery. The entire notebook chassis is black in color and is made out of plastic. There are no fancy elements used anywhere on the body, and it follows minimalistic design overall. The laptop's upper lid and screen frame has glossy surface that adds some richness to the overall look, but more care is necessary to maintain that since it attracts fingerprints easily. The finish is somewhat resistant to minor scratches and fingerprints are not that visible. The center portion of the lid bends inside when little pressure is applied. The rest of the notebook features matte finish, which pretends like tough body build. Hinges supporting the laptop screen are very stiff and strong enough to hold the display at any angle without too much of bouncing, and this will be the maximum angle the screen can be tilted back. There are 4 rubber foots at the bottom, and with rear pads being raised high for typing comfort. 2 speaker outputs, and the battery can be removed by the user through releasing these hatches. I don't find any visible panel gaps anywhere in the chassis. Fit and finish is good with G50-80 series, but I cannot assure whether the plastic build will withstand under rough usage. The notebook weighs around 2.5 kg and it looks slimmer than most 15.6 laptops. Lenovo has included all necessary ports for an average user with the G50-80 series. On the left, power input socket, which has a different shape, recovery button, exhaust vents, VGA port, which most laptops lacks nowadays, Ethernet port. You have to pull down the cover to accommodate the LAN jack, HDMI port, and 2 USB ports, one being USB 2 and the other is USB 3.0. And I feel HDMI and USB ports are placed little close to each other, so it may block other adjacent ports when large devices are used. On the front, LED indicators for power on and charging. There is no Harddisk status lights though. On the right, audio combo jack, SD card reader, another USB 2.0 interface, DVD burner, Kensington lock slot, high definition webcam, and a single microphone. We can either upgrade or replace the following components in this notebook, and they will be hard disk, RAM, Wi-Fi card, and even thermal fan by simply removing this single large maintenance cover. You can see the additional exhaust vents, high definition webcam, and a single microphone. This keyboard layout design is being used in most of the Lenovo models. Keys have short travel with accurate feedback. During long typing sessions, there is a spongy feedback with the keys. The keyboard audibly flexes inside while pressing the keys over this area. Even though there is sufficient space in between the keys, I find the keyboard somewhat cramped around the numpad. Sometimes I struggle to find the arrow keys when my eyes are fixed to the screen. And most frequently used keys like Enter, Shift, Backspace are large enough to differentiate from other keys. Surprisingly, Lenovo included cap lock and numlock indicator lights. The touchpad surface is adequate in size and provides satisfying experience in sensitivity and tracking. Multi-touch gestures worked flawlessly. Two discrete buttons offered reliable clicks and the button operation is more silent. Lenovo has used inexpensive TN panel display with this model that yields poor color accuracy and limited viewing angles. The display surface is glossy, so there will be distracting reflections when used under harsh light conditions. Maximum brightness is sufficient to tackle under brightly lit conditions, and the display exhibits very high bluish tint. HD resolution in a 15.6 inches screen yields around 100 pixels per inch, and the text reproduced with the display will not be sharp enough for serious reading purposes. Pulse width modulation method is used in this display panel to control the screen brightness. That leads to eye fatigue for some users with sensitive eyes. You can see the screen flickering through my camera when brightness is reduced from 100%. Is a display with my Asus ZenBook that has IPS panel display. Acer exhibits washed out colors throughout the image, and this display won't be suitable for any color critical jobs. The bottom placed stereo speakers produced plenty of details in the output with sufficient loudness, and you can adjust the output through pre-installed Dolby Digital sound settings console.
No, everything is fine.
It took 2 hours and 15 minutes to fully charge the 2200 milliamps battery. With brightness set to 50%, I got close to 3 hours of battery life under continuous Wi-Fi browsing with songs running in the background. At maximum load, it lasted under 1.5 hours. Battery runtime is very short on this notebook even under normal usage. By default, Lenovo's power management software restricts the battery charging once it reaches 59% in order to increase the battery life cycle. So don't get terrified in this situation. You can disable this via Lenovo settings console. Just disable this conservation mode option. Lenovo has included one key recovery software which is useful to take backup of current installation and restore it in the case of boot problem or when replacing hard disk. But you should buy laptop with Windows operating system pre-installed, otherwise one key recovery button will not work. Restoring the hard disk can be done by pressing the recovery button, which is placed next to the power jack. After booting via the recovery software option, it grants us with two options. We can restore the laptop from the user created image file or return to its original factory status through the recovery partition. Bluetooth radio is available with this model. Wi-Fi connectivity is good without any signal drops throughout my usage. Let's move on to the performance section of the laptop. Before running the benchmarks, I have connected the power adapter for charging so that any power saving techniques won't bottleneck my tests. First with real-time usage. With a dozen browser tabs open, looping a 1080p video playback, and scanning the whole hard disk with antivirus program and Windows update running in the background. Unzipping a folder that has hundreds of small sized files. The laptop was still responsive and provides good performance with multitasking. I feel the overall speed is severely bottlenecked with the hard disk used in this laptop. I recommend upgrading the conventional hard disk with a solid state disk that will solidly improve the notebook performance. Here are the results of various synthetic benchmarks I ran with this laptop. First with W prime 32M option, with Geekbench, then with Cinebench release 15 benchmark, you can compare the scores with other CPU for reference. And this is the CPU score I got with Acer V3 notebook that used the same processor i3-5005. This laptop scored 2 points more than the Acer model. Similarly with GPU, you can compare the HD graphics score with GeForce 940M chipset, which is installed in entry-level gaming notebooks. And with Crystal Disk and ASSD benchmarks. Temperatures are very well controlled in most situations with this laptop. It remains 36 degrees in idle and goes up to 61 degrees under heavy usage. My room temperature was around 30 degrees while running these benchmarks. Bottom section becomes little warm under heavy usage. Most budget laptops tend to cross 75 degrees while doing CPU intensive tasks, but this notebook has got impressive cooling performance overall. The Intel HD 5500 integrated graphics is suited for casual gaming. The GPU core is clocked at a maximum frequency of 850 MHz that shares a main memory up to 16 GB. However, the memory access is restricted to 64-bit wide interface. It rendered 4K videos pretty smoothly. GPU intensive games can be played with graphics settings kept at bare minimum, and resolution should be maintained less than or equal to notebook's native resolution.
The shutter switch! Don't be an idiot! Get out of the way! This is it! Get in their faces! Get out of here! They answered the wrong call! We bring it to them!
It struggled to play new generation GPU intensive games. With resolution reduced further, you can obtain additional frame rates. Coming to the conclusion, this laptop provides good performance for the average user. Doing CPU intensive tasks like video encoding, image rendering with this laptop will disappoint you as it consumes more time to complete those jobs. For those requirements, I suggest at least a i5 based notebook. Cooling system in this notebook proved to be very effective and I didn't face any overheating issues. And it is rare to find a notebook without major drawbacks at this price point. Lenovo G50-80 series is no exception. The main thing that I hate with the laptop will be the very high flexing in the keyboard unit. So here are the points I liked with this laptop. Overall performance is good selection of connectivity ports, maintenance edge for replacing RAM, hard disk and battery, well controlled temperature in most conditions, good fit and finish but uncertain body quality, and low price. And the negatives will be below average battery life, poor performance from the hard disk used, flimsy keyboard with high amount of flexing, poor display color accuracy, pulse width modulation used across all brightness levels except at 100%. And thanks for watching this video.